to order. And we're going to go immediately to a moment of silence in honor of Christine Plummer, who died recently. Not only is she the grandmother of our current clerk, Angie, but for many years was the town clerk for Georgetown back in the day when town clerks operated out of the kitchen in their house. Um, so I appreciate her work for the town. And so we open the meeting for public comment. Is there public comment?
Doesn't seem so.
None here in the town office, Bronwyn.
Okay, I'm not seeing any, but I'm not sure I see everyone.
I don't see any hands up in
Okay.
Zoom.
Okay. I have no items to add to the agenda.
None here, Bronwyn.
Okay. Okay, scheduled appointments. Let's start with it's 6:12. We'll get ahead of ourselves and do the 6:15 public hearing on liquor license. So I declare the public hearing open on a liquor license for Acclaim Hospitality LLC, which is in reality Gray Havens Inn, and invite any public comment.
Hi, I'm Allie Baranuevo, one of the owners of the Gray Havens Inn, and I'm here in support of our license application.
Thank you, Atlee.
I don't have any questions. Thank you for being here,
Sure.
being available to answer any questions that might come up.
Sure.
Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Gray Havens needs to renew their liquor license.
Yeah. Standard stuff.
Yeah.
We need to all attend and participate at Gray Havens with or without your liquor
Not
license.
gonna advertise, but we close soon. Yeah, 2 months.
Yeah.
And,
So 2 months to
Okay.
enjoy the liquor license.
and I would just add that for the other liquor license we did 2 weeks ago for Robin Hood Ventures, that
Yes.
had been held for over 5 years. So it didn't have to be advertised in the Times Record. This liquor license had to, and it has been advertised.
And nobody showed up to complain. So thank you, Allie,
We
for
try to be
coming.
with you. You're welcome.
And having no public comments and no questions from the board, we'll close the hearing. Would you guys like to vote right now?
I move to approve the liquor license of Gray Havens renewal. I know your DBA, probably some other name.
Acclaim
Acclaim
Hospitality.
I move to approve the liquor license renewal request of Acclaim Hospitality.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
And that
Excellent.
is unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you.
So going back to the agenda, minutes of August 26, 2025. They were circulated today.
And I would just rudely interrupt Bronwyn. I did have some minor tweaks to the Harbor Masters blurb, as well as fixing the spelling of Chief Whalen. And so I didn't get those distributed prior to the meeting. So I don't know if folks want to wait to see that amendment, or really, I just wanted to clarify a little bit more about the blessing of the fleet.
Got it. Okay. Well, I might like to see that part because I was like,
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna move to defer those until our next meeting. It's not I won't say what I usually say, especially since Chief Whalen is in the audience. I usually say it's not a house on fire when I'm at my office, but I'm not gonna say that, Brian. So, but I move to defer those until we get just one last look at them.
Perfect.
Okay, is there? Oh, sorry. I guess we have to vote to do that. All those
Yes.
in favor? Yeah.
Perfect.
Tyler, what does review mean?
Review typically is if we had an updated hauling numbers list or some financials.
Okay, so we don't have
Mary,
anything. Assessing items. An
So-
update on assessments,
So I just wanted to update the board on
abatements?
abatements. After the last meeting, we've now completed all of the abatement applications that came in to us. All of the checks for those that have been granted an abatement have been mailed out. All of the denial letters have also gone out. It is likely that we will have at least one appeal. Just how that conversation went, but in terms of abatements on last year's taxes that started in December, we're now finally done with them. So barring an appeal to the Board of Assessment Review, and I just wanted to share that because it's a good milestone that we got to.
Yes, and thank you for your excellent extended efforts on that, in that regard.
Thank you, Aria.
Yeah.
And what about updates to commit?
So I just wanted to update the board generally about some steps that we're taking on our way to tax commitment. Taxes are usually committed between the end of October to the beginning of December. I'm shooting at this stage to have us on track for the last meeting of October, which would be the 28th. Between now and then, there is some work that needs to be done with Bill Van Tynen and myself. Site work, Pat Dow was in the office today. He's got one more day, he believes, of inputting all the data from last year on new builds, permits, et cetera, that he does. Bill Van Tynen is gonna have to go through and look at surveys, maps when it comes to splitting properties. Those happen periodically. I have been working on updating all of our deeds that have happened in the calendar year. I will say Georgetown moves a lot of things in and out of trusts, which is a
Yeah.
change of ownership, but
Yeah.
those deeds are almost done. I have a handful that I want to review with Mary that just are, I don't want to say problem children, but complicated deeds that I think just an extra set of eyes would be helpful. When that work's done, I send off all of the splits work to our town mapper, O'Donnell and Associates. They would then lay out how the splits are, so Bill can have a little more data to use when he changes over some of the back end. So we still, as we were talking just before the meeting, there were seasons, we are well into the commitment season. And I would say end of October is a good target. If we end up in mid-November, it's not the end of the world, but I wanna see if we can hit that deadline. So just as we've got a couple of meetings between now and then, I wanted to give folks a chance to, plan ahead. And if there are any questions on that process, if I don't have a good answer, we can get in touch with our assessing agent.
Okay.
And what is there's a specific statutory requirement about when tax bills go out, within how many days of commitment?
So when we commit taxes, also set the date that the bills will be mailed. Typically, we have a commitment date and they go out usually within a week. Tax bills are then due 60 days from the date of tax bills being mailed, not 60 days from when we commit it, before interest starts to kick in. So if we hit the end of October, tax bills would be due 60 days
Right.
from the following week, because the printer takes a little bit of time on prepping the bills and having us proof them.
So like the week before Christmas, the tax bill will be due.
Typically, that's usually we fall either Thanksgiving, Christmas, or even just after Christmas, but folks can plan accordingly. They've got 60 days in that window.
Makes us very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, correspondence. Board members, do you have any questions about correspondence presented? Tyler, I have one question on the county EMA meeting.
Yeah.
That's about software, right?
Yes, it's about, it's called a Carrot tool, which is their capability risk assessment tool that the county's rolling out. I truthfully don't have much data on what they're going to be presenting. They're hoping to have a representative from the town. I've tentatively said that I could be there. And, they've reached out, but it's gonna be about a 2 to 3 hour presentation, they think, on this awesome new tool that can help with future risks. So I'll be able to report back more on what's in the Carrot, but I wanted to make sure folks were aware that EMA was rolling out something new.
And does this impact emergency manager?
I believe it could. Again, I don't
But
know.
it may not be worth his 3 hours if you're going.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm not 100% certain who was on the email list that the county had sent out because they blind copied all of the recipients, but I know I got an RSVP request twice before I said, yes, I'll be there. So for what that's worth.
Okay. And on the email thread from the harbor master,
Yep.
the links that were in the email did not work for me.
And
They,
I will forward that as the email, Bronwyn. I think the issue is that I attached it as a PDF.
right, right.
Hmm.
I just wanted a little more conceptual information. Okay, are there any other comments or concerns about correspondence?
The Mayors for Peace Collaborative, is that something that you sign and,
It's something that the town would opt into if they chose. We received a very lengthy email process about what Mayors for Peace does. I think there were like 9 or 10 pages I included.
yeah,
Normally, it's cities that would be participating that have a mayor. A select board chair is kind of the de facto mayor. We don't have a mayor in Georgetown. So it was one of those requests that was unique that I wanted to make sure everyone saw, but it's not something Georgetown has readily participated in the past.
mhm,
But
Has ever
definitely,
participated in.
right,
It's actually, it was started by the mayors of Hiroshima and
And Nagasaki.
Nagasaki,
Yeah,
and it's largely about um, freedom
Nuclear
from
missiles.
atom bombs, nuclear war.
right.
It's very, very verbose, the materials. I don't think it's anything that we would, I don't think it's anything we would join without much more community discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be something that we include with the funding requests and have FAC look at, but I really just wanted to make sure that we passed along the info, that we've been invited to.
there's some kind of financial commitment that the FAC would need to weigh in on?
It's about $100, so to go into the organization, so I kind of view that almost in the same as some of the donations they've worked through in the
Sure.
past, but
Sure.
I just didn't want to be sitting on this and just not pass it along either.
No, I think
Yeah.
it's, I mean, it's,
I do not, I'm not in favor of
Mm.
passing it on to the FAC as a request.
Okay,
And it
I
is
think
a
it's
town-
informative on, from my perspective. If someone wants to has a different concept of how, of action, then make a motion and we can discuss it.
I do not think differently. I think that it's fine just the way it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
good enough. Well, we're about 6 minutes early for an update from the code enforcement officer, but why don't we see if he's ready? Mike, are
Always
you
ready,
there?
Bronwyn, always ready.
Uh,
I really don't, the only update I thought we were going, I had some other, I'm working on an issue, but it's not ready for update yet. I'm still working through some issues, not the right word, but some work. And then the other thing was I just didn't know if we were going to talk, would we talk about the email that came from the Conservation Committee and the tree, the tree cutting on the conservation preserve, the Ipcar Preserve.
Yeah, so
I
that
think
the
we
meeting
do
was
want to
last
talk
night.
about that,
Okay.
but were you at the conservation meeting?
No.
No,
I
okay.
Tyler shared the email from their chair, I think it was.
Uh-huh. Do you have any, what is your reaction to their recommendation?
I mean, I'll do whatever, you would like me to do. Part of me thinks, I know we had, if I'm jumping in too early, Tyler is saying too much to say something, but I know that Tyler reached out to Maine Municipal as well. And, in this particular case, I wonder, I think about less, start from the, not for lack of a better word, from the bottom and go to the top, like, should we try to work out some sort of agreement with the homeowner and the conservation committee? And if that doesn't work, take the next, increase the steps, and see if it even gets to, fines or enforcement or something to that effect. But, that's my first thought, but.
Right. I think that makes sense. We certainly don't want to uh, rush into court just
Right.
because there's this statute that sets out fines. Um, and I don't know if this is the moment to discuss the rest of whatever might be discussable. Aria, you were at the Conservation Commission meeting?
I was, but, Jessica Weller's email lays it out. Their plan is, makes sense because it's methodical. It's getting a forester involved to see sort of how it could be, mitigated. And so I think both of these options, what Mike has suggested and what the Conservation Commission, can go hand in hand. And I do think it's important, as a community, to work with homeowners, whatever the issue is, or a community member, whatever, just like we've tried to do on when, the cameras have picked up a trespass at the transfer station. We try to work with people to address any concerns that might come up. So, I think that's the best approach. And, but
And did they, I mean, was the issue that prompted them to want a forester's opinion, what to do with the slash? Or was it more about what kind of planting would replace the trees that were taken down?
I'll certainly defer to Jess Weller, who's on the Zoom right now, if we wanted to ask her questions. My understanding is that it was to address the ages of the trees and to make sure that it's being mitigated and addressed in a way that makes sense for the forest. And she's agreeing with me, so.
Hi, Jess, do you want to add anything?
Hi. We just felt that this was the best way to get an expert's opinion about how what trees should be left, what brush should be taken out, and an ecological perspective. And then they'd be able to tell us, because I'm sure this happens all the time, with homeowners and abutting town property. So they might have some advice on how to go forward with it. And we think the service would be free. So we just thought it would be the easiest way to start.
Okay, thanks. And thanks for the prompt consideration.
And they could
Is-
also, from my perspective, they could also be, Shane could also be in touch with Mike. They could work collaboratively on this.
Oh, I totally agree. Because they are the experts, not me. So I'm happy to contact Shane and work with him and the concept, move forward if that's what you folks would like to do.
I think that sounds like a reasonable course of action. I've been wondering if at the same time it would make sense to let the homeowner know that there is a timber trespass statute in Maine that actually sets specific fines for the different sizes of trees that someone might cut, whether inadvertently, as without malice, or deliberately is not, it doesn't matter, but that we are not inclined to want to go to court, and we're looking for a solution and are consulting the Forest Service, to see what the experts think should be done. I guess I'm asking the town administrator and the other members of the select board if they think that would be a good idea. Just that there will be quite a delay while, from the initial notice that there was an infraction to any kind of consequence, but we are still contemplating some consequence. So I'd like to hear from Aria and Katie and possibly Tyler
I would think a letter would be appropriate to the homeowner. I think that she should be in the loop on the efforts that are being made to kind of right the situation, and that there are many people in the mix here, and she should probably be part of it too. Or they should be part of it too.
I think the message should be that it's intended, that this letter is intended to be a cooperative effort to restore the preserve to where it was. And, Mike's had the contact with, this homeowner apparently, and so I think if we approach it, that we wanna work on this together to get back to where it needs to be. With
Or
some
to move, in a sense, to move forward, because as
Right.
Kathy Gravino pointed out in the first place, some of those trees are quite big. You're not going to replace them
Right.
immediately, but you'd like a design for mitigation that would lead toward a healthy outcome for the forest.
And I
Okay,
think it's important, Bronwyn, as well, by doing that letter, we have it documented that we're saying we want to work collaboratively, and if it gets to a point where things weren't collaborative, and I don't think that'll be the case, we've at least got a paper trail of the steps that got us there. And it
okay,
keeps the homeowner in the loop.
Yeah. Is the
okay.
conservation committee concerned at all about the architectural rocks that were brought into the preserve, or are we just gonna let those stay?
We're unsure. We've heard reports that they were already there. I know the homeowner said they're already there. We're unsure. I'm unsure of the cost of moving them to the boundary line, but again, it would be a question for, I think, the forester.
Okay.
That might not be one that he was prepared to answer. How far inside the boundary are they?
They're basically right over the property line, if I remember correctly. Oh, over into the Ipcar Preserve property.
Yes, but I mean, are they 3 feet or 2 feet or
You mean the size? Oh, they're rather
no? I
long.
mean, how far from the boundary? How far do they encroach? Or are they actually marking the boundary, the real boundary?
Probably closer to the latter. I was just looking for my pictures, but
Well, you don't have to answer that right now.
okay.
I think that's part of the question. If in fact they appear to extend the homeowner's property, then we probably should move them or have them moved, or um, Tyler suggested if they're really beautiful rocks, we should sell them. Um, but if they're actually marking the boundary, that's different.
Anecdotally, just for the rest of the board, I have spoken to one resident of Blueberry Hill who did indicate that he's been watching those rocks for many years. And there are a lot of folks on Blueberry Hill that admire those rocks. So that's where, and with the homeowner saying that they've been there, there is some evidence to think that they could have been there. And so, maybe somebody would want to buy these rocks, and then it's their
Right.
job to move them too.
Yeah, they pick it up.
Okay, so back to the letter. Um, is it the sense of the board that Tyler and I can draft a letter to the homeowner and share it with each of you by email, the way we do minutes? And if you have suggestions for editing, you can let Tyler know.
That sounds good.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. So then, thank you, Mike. I think that's, unless we have questions, anybody else have other questions about other issues for Mike?
Thank you, Mike.
No, thank you. And just so the board's aware, and maybe I've said this already, up to this step, I have been in contact with the owner through email. I said we were going to view it at the select board, which we did last time. And then I said it was going to the conservation committee for review. So
So you have been keeping the loop open.
a little in that regard. But,
Yeah,
yeah.
great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and then who is going to are you going to contact the forester, or is
Yes.
Tyler going to do that, or
I'll take care of that. I'll work with Tyler, but
Super.
I'll take care of it.
That way you can schedule a visit.
Sounds good.
Okay, thank you. All right, continuing items.
The only continuing item we had was that the main waste discharge license for Jimmy McMahon at 136 Old Schoolhouse Road was up for renewal. And in a couple of weeks, this will be moved down to approval when the state goes through their process.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, board member updates. My committees haven't met. Solid Waste meets on Thursday this week, and the TOPMB meets next week. I've been in touch with Jessica. We had a big conversation about the cutting and about grants. And I'd like to know, I'd like to see progress reports from the Working Waterfront people and the planning board about creating a registry of short-term rentals or not, but where they are on that, what's been happening. And that's all I have for the moment. So, Aria?
Yeah, so I think we heard, obviously some about last night's conservation meeting that occurred last night. The WaterWise sampling was deferred for a couple of reasons, including primarily, I think, because the grant money wasn't available. It's now come through in the last, I'm gonna say, week or so, perhaps, and so the efforts or the work that's already been done can now be paid for or largely paid for. And overall, it sounds like the right solution that it did get deferred, given what the challenges were that the leadership committee on the WaterWise project were facing. So that is conservation. The rec committee is meeting on September 15. They're gearing up for the fall frolic. There's the companion art show at the same same time, same venue, this 10 to 2 time frame. Both are free to all Georgetown residents. There'll be food and music at both of them, including the Georgetown Jammers, and I think Mr. Ipgar is going to be playing again on the frolic side. So lots of our local artisans, and hopefully a lot of folks will be attending on September 20th at Reed. The rain date for that is the 27th. Let's see, what is, I will circle back with the Working Waterfront folks. I think our next steps for that is to get an informational session out in the community. And so Mike was gone and then I was gone. And so I just need to get back and coordinate with him. But I think they're ready to launch that. Probably now that Labor Day has come and people should be home more, it's a better time to do it in the fall. And the Board of Appeals has not met. The Harbor Committee has not met. Obviously, it's good that Woody's staying on. And I believe that is all of my updates, because I'm going to let you handle the other ones. I keep trying to.
School committee.
Yeah, school and then the fire department.
Fire department, yep. Were you on fire department?
No, I just always follow them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not going to say about the
And
spaghetti
just
supper.
more Mary would show up.
Yeah, but so I'm not going to steal your thunder about the spaghetti supper, because you
Okay.
know I'm invested in that.
There's more to say, so if you want to take the
No.
spaghetti supper.
No, go ahead.
Spaghetti supper is October 4th at the Georgetown Community Center. The Georgetown Community Center also hosted a really great CPR class.
Oh yes,
Molly Webster put that together, and we had
the fire department. She's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and we had a woman from Topsom come in, and I think there were 22 attendees.
That's great.
And I got my little certificate. I am CPR trained.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, it was great. Molly and Bill Webster also hosted a lobster bake for the fire department on Sunday in the rain, and it was lovely. What else? The planning board met, and they've put together a short-term rental spreadsheet they kind of assigned a few towns per person on the board, and each person would call the town, see what they're doing about short-term rentals, ask a few questions, maybe look through some documents, and then add their information onto the spreadsheet. And it's been very interesting to see the town's information get filled, whether they're doing it in what capacity they're managing their STRs, if they are. So they are working on the short-term rental registry. And maybe even looking for a little guidance from the planning board on, or from the select board on where to next after the information has been gathered.
Okay, great. So when do you think that'll be complete, Katie? The information, the data drop into the spreadsheet?
Yeah, I mean, it's never complete because you could just do more and
Sure.
more towns.
Yes, of
but
course.
It's almost like 15 towns, 12 towns
Okay.
here. And it's a shared document that's being filled as they go. And there's some really great information on here. Anywhere from, we've got Holden, West Bath, Arousik, Bar Harbor, Phippsburg, Harpswell, Kennebunk.
Okay.
Might be
Separate,
more
would
than-
it make sense to share a link to that document so that with us, so that we
Yeah.
could kind of peruse it? It sounds like the sort of data that you can't absorb necessarily in one sitting.
Yeah.
Well,
it's
maybe,
true.
yeah, it's,
I think maybe the data is being gathered and then they'll consolidate
Okay.
and come up with,
The spreadsheet is new.
yeah.
so Dave Trigg is here in the town office, and he's a member of the planning board now, and he's addressing this question.
I think Dave made the. spreadsheet.
I took a spreadsheet that was made and put it into a shared document. And that document has been spread, as shared within the other members of the planning board. I'm just making sure right now that everybody has read, write, and editor status on it. But, we haven't had a meeting since that was done, so getting an agreement on everybody putting in their stuff, and if there's additional information that they get from the towns besides what's in that matrix, I think the planning board ought to sort of align on that before we go thinking about sharing an incomplete document.
Mhm.
And
I
Bronwyn,
think Bob Trebona had his hand up.
Yes,
Thanks, Dave.
we have the assignments. Everybody's working on getting information from different towns. The plan is at our next meeting, which is on the 17th, I believe, we will basically agree upon a date for a special planning board meeting, and the sole subject is going to be to review the information we have, put it in some sort of intelligent format, and at that point, we would be ready to share it with the select board. But at this point in time, we don't have all the information, and we have not reviewed it amongst ourselves. And in fairness to the select board, the planning board does not want to give you, as David said, an incomplete document.
Okay.
Bob, Tyler here in the room. Bob, do you think, just as we're planning ahead and looking at the next few meetings, if you're gonna be meeting again this month and then setting a special meeting, do you think we could expect that by the first meeting in October, we might have a presentation for an update?
I think that would be fair to set that as the goal.
So,
Okay.
so that gives us kind of at least a little bit of a target, and if more time's needed or not, we can check in, see where we're at, just to keep the select board in the loop too.
Okay. Thank you.
And
Katie?
the
I-
school committee has not met, so I haven't seen them yet. Oh, okay, okay. I
But
reached out.
they're back in the building?
They are?
Yeah.
Yep.
The meeting is next Wednesday for,
That on the
Mm,
calendar.
okay.
And yeah, that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you. Town administrators update.
So I just wanted a couple of items. Every year with Maine Revenue Service, they do an update of checking our tree growth records. So one of the things I'll be working on this month is getting the tree growth report out to them. It's pretty well maintained, so shouldn't take long, but there have been a few changes over the past year. I wanted to share for Mary that audit work is still underway, but they're really closing. She's been working on 2 audits simultaneously. And it sounds like the last documents from the school have been finalized for that first audit, so we're rapidly close to where one audit will be closed out. And then we can focus just on the one. I also wanted to share that I'm trying to gather some information on First Church across the street and seeing if any of the quotes that folks had previously put in might be able to be updated, just so at some point in the near future, the select board has good and not 5-year-old data, should we decide to start having a discussion about First Church. At our next meeting, the general assistants, statewide GA folks update every year based on the laws that have changed, the maximum and minimums and boilerplate language for all towns on GA. We received that on Friday last week, which wasn't enough time for a public hearing for this meeting. So just be advised that we will be having those documents go out soon. Mary will be working on a cheat sheet because there are, I think, 5 different attachments with all kinds of stuff and just some of the high level, these are the things we should know. And I wanted just to touch base to close the loop on whether or not there was board interest on the visit to McMahon. We had been invited next week. I know that we'd initially thought maybe the 15th, and I know that date didn't work for others. I wanted to know if we foregone the 15th, would the 15th be any better, or is it more next week's just not?
The 16th,
Yeah, the 16th.
16th doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that works for me either, actually. Yeah,
I'd like
So-
to, I'd like to tell the association, the McMahon Association, that we're very interested in visiting, but we
Yeah.
need advance notice in order to
a little bit
schedule.
more. Yeah, a little bit
Uh,
more lead time.
So, yeah.
Quite a bit
and-
more lead time, really.
Yeah.
And there's always the chance that we could get out early next season before things really kick off too. So I'll talk with Chris and the president, but I just wanted to make sure we got the invite. There was some possible flexibility, but we will wait till next year and that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless there's another date this month that they throw back and then I'll share in real time.
Right, okay, thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
And that was all I had. Unless there were any questions.
No.
Okay. It seems like we took care of all the old business. That's because we had such a lengthy meeting last time. New business, we've already acted on the liquor license. And Tyler, you want to talk about the Maine Municipal Convention
Well, I'm just
attendance?
gonna move that, move to approve Tyler's attendance at that convention. I think it's important professional development. You can tell us more about it, but that's where I'm already at.
So I was planning to attend at least one of the 2 days.
Yeah,
There's a lot of overlap on the second day with some of the classes I took up at Sunday River, so for me, I don't see booking a night at a hotel for the town. I did tonight, though, wanna check and see if any of those dates worked for select board members, and if they wanted to attend. As a select board member, you are entitled to attend any of the MMA events. We just get you registered and kind of go from there. So it's been on correspondence a few spots, but I haven't had a chance to check directly.
what's the date again?
The date,
8th and 9th of October. It's a Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah.
or Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's
The
in
ninth.
Bangor.
Yeah.
And I
It's
I
not-
would need to be back in Georgetown at 2 p.m. So I don't think that I can
okay,
do the traveling
And I've gotta
back and forth.
conduct some hearings that day, so I would not be able to do the 9th.
so what we can do is have some of the staff, I know that Angie is gonna try to potentially go a day on where they have some clerk-related items.
Mm-hmm.
We have a deputy now that can keep the lights on, I know there were some classes Mary was interested in potentially taking.
Yeah, they
And-
have good classes.
And in the event that anyone gets a special award, and that's all I'll say, we might talk again offline
Sure.
about what that means,
Yeah.
so. Thank you, that gave me good direction, and I don't think we need a motion, well, you've made a motion, but 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
So then our meeting is not the 7th, it's the 14th.
Yes,
Okay, yeah, because I've got it in for both dates, I think, just to make sure I make it in October. I've got it for both Tuesdays.
The 14th and 28th, right?
Yeah.
And the last thing I'd add, which has nothing to do with MMA, the only item we have here is a cemetery deed to be signed tonight,
Okay.
and I'm all done, Bronwyn.
Okay. Is there any public comment?
I have some questions, but they're really basic, and I don't wanna take up the time if it's easier after recording goes off to ask the board some basic questions.
Well, we have
The
to-
board won't be here after the
Right.
recording goes off. The board is only in session while we're in session.
You know,
And public comment is public comment. We may choose to defer the answers.
okay, so then, one basic question was, you were talking earlier about lot splits and things that happen in the town on property. The update to the property maps, are those digitally done? Are they redlined? Where are they kept? Where can they be found?
That's a
So-
Tyler question.
I was gonna say, Katie wants to take it. I can see she wants to take this question.
Yeah, but he can take it.
Great question.
I'm teasing, I'm teasing.
So there are
Yeah.
PDFs of the property maps online. We have giant copies here. We have some smaller ones folks can look at. If you're talking about the red lines and circles, some of those are working documents as we get them off to the mapper. But we use O'Donnell and Associates out in New Gloucester. The town has since before I was born. Just had to throw that out there. But they go with a ink on paper version. I did have a conversation with O'Donnell and Associates today about whether or not we went towards a GIS, it's digitized, what would that cost be? I know assessing's been very interested in some of those tools that we just don't have. It'd be about a $15,000 first year move in that direction, so that's something that I think would be a budget discussion later. But I think
David?
there's definitely some merit to that.
somewhere. Somebody's
So I'm
You wanna move this?
familiar, so I'm quite familiar with the maps online. And there are, many of them are well out of date, right? There's lots of changes that have been made and they're not on the current maps. The red line maps, O'Donnell makes the red lines?
N-
When,
we internally would flag properties and we'd send
I
them
think
to
this is a
O'Donnell
discussion that could take
offline.
place offline in the office. Okay, is there other public comment?
Yes, but again, I'm
yeah.
not sure it's worthy. It's about the correspondence. The list of the correspondence that we don't look at tonight. Are those documents something that are just to be asked for in the town office?
So those
Incident
documents are,
reports, handgun permit information, those kinds of things.
those things are on the town website on the upcoming select board meeting information tab. It went up late today. Thank you, Meg McDermott, for flagging that, coming in on a Tuesday when I work from home Monday.
Right.
Threw off the schedule, but those are available and they remain on the website for 2 weeks. Then they get replaced when the next list goes up, but we keep copies.
Right, thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So check the
Okay.
website.
Yeah, that's it.
Other public comment? Brian?
Yeah, just real quick, guys. I just wanted to highlight the fact that although we got a little bit of rain this last weekend, it's still been very, very dry. And I just want people to be really careful outside if they have to do any burning, if that's even allowed, which looking at the weather forecast doesn't look very likely. So if anyone has any questions, they can feel free to contact me. Be happy to answer any questions or fill in any info. But it's real dry still, and so please be careful. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
I
Ron.
think what the newspaper headline said was it was enough rain to dampen weekend plans, but not cure the drought. Any other comments?
No, I move to adjourn.
Thank you. I hear
Second
that
that.
motion.
I'll
I'm in
second.
favor. Thank you, everyone, for coming and for your participation.
Thanks.
Good night.
Take care, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night.